And let me tell you the debris that we removed from Coconut Grove Elementary. There had been a playground set that had been cordoned off with police tape for the past 7 years. It was laden with arsenic. When I tried to find out when it was going to be removed, I was told 3 more years. So we turned around and we removed it. Maybe not the right thing to do, maybe thinking outside of the box, but I thought, you know what? Coconut Grove Elementary is certainly not high on somebody's priority list. So we took out the arsenic-laden playground equipment. Ryan goes on to ask, he asked for the Director of Parks approval to remove the debris in Margaret Street Pocket/Linear Park. He says we would only remove the low-lying stumps and the debris at the border and the center line of the park. The same contractors have offered to complete fencing at the sides of the park and provide fencing at the end of the park. That is their way of saying thank you to the community that has allowed them to prosper. We can work out the details of the fencing another day, however, time is limited for the cleanup. That day, the Director of Parks responds, please move forward with our blessing. Now, I can tell you that it was our office that rekindled this whole plan. I can tell you on 23 March 2007, Grove Heritage Gardens actually hires Patrick Range. I can tell you that on 27 April 2007, tree planting permits were starting to be issued, and I was directing some people who had owed plantings in the Village West to start planting in this particular section with the permission of the city. New trees are finally put in. On 3 June 2007, Grove Heritage meets, and there's a grand opening plan for 22 June 2007. Now, I'm going to ask you just to go to one section of this trifold. It's the very end. It says the fence. This is a synopsis of every email that Ryan Alexander experienced. And I told you about the 14 March 2007 email to Ernest Burkeen outlining the cleanup. On 21 March 2007, Ryan actually cleaned up and got the debris removal and spent $1,457.50, which was approximately 3 truckloads of debris, and he took that off and paid for that himself. On 23 April 2007, he had a Majuan Fencing and Welding Company provide him a $14,600 bid for the gate, and on 2 May 2007, he had a survey performed on Margaret Street Pocket Park, and he paid $495. Now, Ryan Alexander personally has $16,250 of his own money into this park. I'm not going to tell you everything he did was absolutely correct, but I am going to tell you what he did. And to his credit, he did something. On 16 July 2007, there are emails to the Park Department explaining that the location of Margaret Street and a request for some maintenance was made, and they're advising that it's now called Grove Heritage Garden. On 27 July 2007, there's an email to Maria Perez with the wish list of the park and a mention of possible reimbursement of the Margaret Street fencing costs. What had happened was the 2 people who had agreed to help pay for the fencing with him had reneged, and he was now bearing the entire expense of the fence, and that fence was $14,600. On 13 September 2007, there's an email from Maria Perez to Michael Baracchio, who's a very good operations guy, and Rafael Gonzalez requesting a request to Ryan Alexander. Mid-September, Furman Alvarez, a person I do know from Parks, mentioned that Maria may need additional bids. So what Ryan did at this time was he said to a contractor, he said, there are 2 fences up here. Go take a look at these 2 fences and tell me what you would charge to build these fences. And he does, and he gets a bid. And to backtrack a moment with you, he also put in some cyclone fencing as well on the sides. At any rate, if you just look at the date, you'll see that it's 15 October 2007. Ryan inevitably passes those on to the city so that he now thinks he is given what's called competitive bidding. It also goes to show he doesn't know the procurement process whatsoever. Ryan submits those bids, informing of the two estimates for the picket fencing and requesting a procedure to Furman Alvarez, who I spoke to a moment ago, with fax information. What happens is nothing is said to Ryan for the next month, month and a half. And then it's not until 13 February of 2008 that we actually get a phone call from the Miami Herald. Now, I'm not here to tell you that we did absolutely everything correct. What I am here to tell you is, when I learned that Ryan had submitted an invoice for payment to the city, the first reaction I had to him was, you just donated a fence to the city. Now, most of you have gotten to where you are, and I don't mean this disrespectfully at all, with a lot of support from this administration to get here. I was not so fortunate. I didn't get to your dais, to your chairs, with support. Matter of fact, none of you supported me.
Neither did I, Mark.
Okay, fair enough,
So
Joe.
take me out of that one.
But my point is, it took time to get any kind of job done here with the city. And I think part of that is a modicum of trust. Part of that is a modicum of everybody learning each other. But I was very hard on my office. I wanted things to move. I wanted my office to accomplish some things. And I did it not just in the good neighborhood, I did it across the city. And this neighborhood was a neglected neighborhood. And if you just look at the book that's in front of you, 2001, this starts. And it is now April of 2007. And we're talking about trees, we're talking about a fence, and we couldn't accomplish that. Now, again, I'm not here to tell you every I was dotted, every T was crossed. But there's a saying in law. What was his malintent? What was his bad intention here? Ryan Alexander submitted, he said, what about the possibility? He didn't make a demand of the city. He said, what about the possibility of getting some reimbursement? He asked for $14,500 and submitted the invoice. He had already shorted himself $100 on the Imajuan invoice. He didn't even ask for the survey. He didn't ask for the cyclone fencing. He didn't even ask for the front-end loader to help get the stumps out. This man is out $16,250. And any suggestion of anyone in this city that he needs further punishment other than the fact that he just bought the city a fence, rented a front loader, or put some cyclone fencing up in a survey, I think is not consistent with how we've treated each other. I've learned things in this process. Commissioner Gonzalez, who I wish was here right now, this morning said something which I thought spoke volumes. He said to Glenn Marcos, what do you mean? We have to get competitive bids when we use our own discretionary dollars? Now, Commissioner Gonzalez has been on that dais a long time. I don't think all of us absolutely understand procurement. And I guess I'm a private sector guy. I don't absolutely understand it. And if I've brought any kind of shame on this commission, it is with deep regret and it is with my host of apologies. But when I learned that somebody in my office had done something wrong, I took what I thought was the corrective, proper action. I made sure he wasn't reimbursed for it. Now, he doesn't sit there belly aching and saying, I'm out $16,250. And any of you that know Ryan know that he's a man of character and he's a great person. And in some respects, the heartbeat of my office has been wrenched out of it because he was the glue that kept my office together. I just wanted to give you, as my commissioners, because the bottom line is you have to trust each other. I want you to know exactly what happened with this fence issue. You know, I want you to know I have nothing to hide here. You're welcome to take the book, read it in total. What I have told you is not inconsistent with the city manager's memorandum. It is not inconsistent with any findings. And you know what?